We are back with another awesome episode of Life on the Ave. I'm here with my new friend, Nicole Faries. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Super excited to have you. I'm going to quick jump into her bio for anyone that doesn't know her, so you can learn a little bit about her. I'm super excited because she is very much in my world. And I think a lot of people don't know that I even do property management, so I'm super excited to have you. This week, we are joined by Nicole Faries, an accomplished attorney with deep expertise in civil litigation, specializing in landlord and tenant law and manufactured housing law across the state of Delaware. Nicole has practiced in every major Delaware court, from the Justice of the Peace to the Superior Court and even the U.S. District Court, where she helps landlords navigate the complexities of tenant bankruptcy cases. With a law degree from Widener University and a background in philosophy from the University of Delaware, go Hens, Nicole brings a sharp, strategic mind to her work. She's a former deputy attorney general, the Faries Firm, Inc. Outside of the courtroom, Nicole is also a film and TV enthusiast who's made appearances such as featured as an extra in shows like Limitless and Allegiance. She's here today to share her insights on navigating landlord law, running a client-centered practice, and staying creative along the way. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you. Yeah,
so excited to have you.
Yeah, that's a great introduction. So thank you.
ChatGPT, shout out. I can't take any credit, but yes, it's exciting to have you. So how did we get here? Let's hear from you. How did you get to this seat right now?
How did I get to this seat?
Besides just meeting me at a random Delaware meeting.
I think I met you and you drug me in here. But before that, I was very ambitious. Yes. I was a very ambitious young person. So, I was like a wee little kid, too young to see this, but I saw A Time to Kill. And I was like, I want to be an attorney. I want to be that attorney that says, so now cool. Open your eyes. Yeah. And so I knew from very early that that's what I wanted to do. However, I quickly tried to get to that goal. I graduated college when I was 20, went straight to law school, literally walked graduation on Saturday, started law school on Monday.
Wow.
And I withdrew after 3 months to pursue acting.
Wow, crazy. Not in her bio. That part's not in the bio.
Not specific in the bio. So I joined the Screen Actors Guild, moved out to LA, did all that, got that out of my system, came back and did law.
How long did you do that?
Just over a year.
Wow.
But then I was like, if I do this, I could be a working actor after 7 years. But I thought after 7 years in law, I could have like a house and stuff that I wanted. So that directed me back to law. And also, when you're 20, everybody wants to be an actor. I figure if I still want to do it when I'm 60, maybe I'll have more. I don't have that desire as much anymore. Yeah. But anyway, so then I went back to law school, did the big firm thing, big Skadden litigator, and left, went to Prickett Jones and kind of fell into landlord-tenant work. And it made sense. My parents owned rental properties when I was a kid, so it kind of made sense to me. My dad, we had Faries Funeral Home. It's one of the oldest in the country. I'll give a shout out to that. 1831. It's in Smyrna, Delaware.
Cool.
So it was established. It was running during the Civil War, so that's super cool. So I'll just throw that out there. It's a very interesting fact.
Your parents still do that?
It's in my family, but not direct line. My cousins are doing it. Yeah, so very cool. So I saw my dad running his own business. My mom worked for the state, so that's sort of why I was also a state prosecutor, because I thought I'd want to be a state employee. While I was a prosecutor, I learned of mandatory minimum federal sentencing guidelines, and I did not like that at all. So I'm like, okay, my future is in private practice. And also, I will say I had developed a book of business by the time I went to the state, and my clients were really asking me to come back too. Yeah. So
they missed you.
It's been, so I kind of just built a book of business, thankfully, by getting thrown into property laugh at one of my prior law firms. And
so watching your parents have rental properties didn't scare you from all this?
Well, it sort of did, because they had Section 8 properties. And those are still the most difficult to deal with. So I guess I kind of wanted to flip properties too. So, and it just kind of is natural. I've done some flipping on the side. So, so
I'm learning so much about you.
I do so much. I feel like I had all this energy at once, and now I'm more focused because I opened up my own firm, and all my energy's going to that now.
Full steam ahead. Right. Now you're not just an attorney, you are a business owner. Which is a whole different ballgame.
It totally is. I have a lot of respect for a lot of people. I had no idea.
Yes,
so
literally.
Congrats to all the business owners out there.
That's why I'm so passionate about these small businesses, and that's why this podcast exists, because I'm just like, some of these small businesses don't have the platform or the audience that we have, and I'm super passionate about sharing it, because It's hard out here. It's hard
really
out
hard.
here.
Yes,
It's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, so how long you just opened your own firm?
I just opened January 1st. So, and what's hard to explain, and for business owners out there, I think they could understand, I've been doing this for over 16 years.
Right.
So my book of business has been with me. Some of them, my first time clients, they've been with me for over 16 years. And so I'm trying to tell the bank, I'm not a new business.
Right.
I am this attorney. I've been at different firms, but this is the same book of business, but they still view you as a new company. So it's hard to get funding and stuff when you first start out. So I was fortunate enough to have that book of business and just basically move my practice from one law firm to my own law firm. So it was really just a natural transition. In the past, my clients have moved from firm to firm with me before. So a couple have asked, when are you going to open up your own one? So I think they were happy when I finally did. So hopefully this is my final move, but you never know.
You never know. And you're young. You've got a lot of life ahead. Yeah. So how has it been? You're 6 months in? 7 months in?
6 months in, yeah. So everything's going well, and we're on. I mean, we didn't really have targets. We just wanted to keep doing what we were doing, and we're doing it. And more work's coming in. New clients are coming in.
It's amazing.
And it's really good. Yeah.
So I met Nicole. So for those of you that don't know, a lot of people just see us as a sales team. The bulk of our social media, our content is us just selling houses, which is like our bread and butter, I would say. But my husband and I have purchased a couple rental properties, and I kind of stumbled into a property management company. I have a property management background. I worked for Lang and Newark. So I do have that background, but I kind of stumbled into this. So whenever I have an issue pop up or something going on, I will go to a Del Ria meeting. I will pop into the Del Ria Facebook group or whatever. So I guess it was winter. It was cold. So it was probably like March I met you. I went to a Del Ria, which is Delaware Real Estate Investors Association.
We'll go with that. That sounds very close.
Right. Let's just guess the letters. So I went to one of the meetings, and Nicole was the speaker that week. I had seen on like the advertisement that you were coming in. I knew you had just started your own firm, and you were specializing in landlord tenant, type of things. And I this year have had my first couple of evictions, and it's been brutal out here.
Well, congratulations, and I'm sorry.
Yes, all at once. Yes. And I'm very excited. I have not done an eviction with Nicole yet, but I just finished the couple I had, and any moving forward will be with you. So I'm very excited to work with you. But one, just super inspired. You started your own business. Amazing. Yes. Two, it is, I don't want to say a thankless job, but it's brutal what you do.
It's brutal. I tell people I'm the big bad wolf, but I do it nicely.
Yes.
And my daughter, she loves the fact that mommy's a lawyer. She plays lawyer at home. Yeah. She apparently woke my husband up yesterday. I try to give her all these assignments so she'll let my husband sleep in when I'm at work, but she was trying to get an office chair from the basement so she could play office.
That's amazing. So she looks up to you.
It's good. Yeah. And I thought like going out on my own would be a good role model for her. So she's 5. So yes.
Be your own boss. It's the best. So for those that maybe don't understand, they just heard me rattle off your bio. Dumb it down, Nicole Faries for Dummies. What do you do?
So I represent landlords that have problems with tenants. So sometimes landlords need to buy properties and do things, and I refer them to other people. But if you have a property and you have a dispute with a tenant, I can help. So if they're not paying rent, if they're violating the rules, if you just want to cancel the lease, non-renew the lease, or if you want to increase the rent, I deal with all spectrums of commercial, residential, subsidized, manufactured housing, and the only one that has rent control right now is manufactured housing. But right now, what's the hot ticket is that the legislature ends June 30th. So we're keeping an eye on all the laws to make sure rent control doesn't
change.
Implemented.
So you're at the forefront of that.
Yes, very much at the forefront, and it's very busy right now with all the laws coming out. So I have if anybody's interested, I do have a news alert thing that I do for landlords. So if anything in the law is changing, or if I've been to court and I'm noticing this trend from the judges, I send news flash emails saying, hey, this is the latest of what's going on in Delaware. I will be honest, it mostly relates to manufactured housing, but occasionally it's generally applicable. Mm-hmm. I try to point that out so people know, is this manufactured housing or residential or subsidized or commercial, it can all vary.
Right. Because it really is the wild, wild west out here with these rental properties.
It is.
I'll take on a new client that has never heard of the Delaware Landlord Tenant Code. It's insane. When I take on a property that they don't have a lease, they have no idea what the lease is, or they have a 1-page lease with just name, tenant, rent, date. It's so unregulated. It's crazy out here.
It is.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts on that are, if you need my help, please come to me at the start and not after you think you've sent all the letters you're supposed to send, because this has happened to me twice this week where my client's like, here, I've sent it's a brand new client. I've sent all my letters. And I'm like, well, it's legally defective. So I have to restart this.
The timeline starts over.
Timeline starts over. So they think they've sent the 60-day notice, but they didn't attach the right to representation flyer, which is now was required in 2022. So their notice is defective. So we have to give them a new 60-day notice. So now they're already 2 months behind, and the court process is going to take another probably close to 4 months from start to finish, maybe 3 months. But if you get a professional tenant, as I call them, it could take longer.
Which they exist.
I know all the tricks they can play.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So.
Amazing. Yeah, I had my first professional tenant. It's probably why I went to that event. My first professional tenant, checks bouncing, not showing up. I'm going to drop it off. Doesn't show up. Like, I had my first professional tenant, and the day before her trial, she left, right? Like the day before it would have hit her record or whatever. She left, but she had squeezed like 4 months out of her rental out of me.
Yes.
It was brutal.
And if they're really good, they know how to get the court action delayed, so they won't show up at the first hearing, but they'll have an excuse and they'll do other tricks. I don't want to put it all in a podcast because I don't want to educate anybody on what to do, but there's tenants out there that know it. And if you're dealing with opposing counsel, these are like, if you're wondering, when should I get an attorney? It's if you think you have a sophisticated tenant or a tenant that knows the system, or if you have a legal aid or opposing counsel, you might want, there's probably a defect with your case.
Yeah.
Because if it's a private attorney, they probably know that there's a deficiency in the case. But the good news out for everybody out there is there's only like 5 of us that specialize in landlord tenant law. So, and most of us represent landlords.
I've worked with some of them, and they're brutal. So I would only work with Nicole moving forward.
Oh, well, thanks.
No, and no shade to them. I think it's a thankless job. I think it's like, to your point, like, you're the big bad wolf. And I think some of these attorneys aren't as specialized as you are. Like, this is definitely so it seems like what you've honed in on. Some of the attorneys I've worked with, it seems like this is just like a side hustle for them.
Yes. Yeah. It's not good to be a side hustle, because I know when I was at other firms,
like I'm annoying them.
Well, yes, and that you can't keep track of these cases are very high pace, and you need to bill like 0.1 a day on this case, which isn't going to make any money for an attorney, so you need hundreds of them.
Right.
But so they're more interested in the big commercial litigation cases and you can't focus on these. They don't care.
And then we just
not
slide
important
to
to
the
them.
wayside.
All of my clients are, landlords. They're all priority.
Yeah, exactly. And I respect you a ton for that. So say I'm someone, we encounter this a lot. I just bought my first, or not just, but I bought my first house in a trolley square. Maybe it's a little townhouse in Pike Creek. Maybe it's Union Park Gardens, right? I've got my first time home buyer house, but I'm ready to go to my big boy house, right? I'm going to move to the suburbs. I'm going to go for my forever home. I'm thinking about becoming a landlord. What's something you would want to tell those people from the jump?
From jump, if you are either hire a property management company or know how to screen the tenant yourself, make sure you have good screening methods from the beginning. So you can hire outside companies to do criminal background. One good resource is Delaware Court Connect. So you literally go to Google and type Delaware Court Connect, and there's a website that pops up where you can run a person's name and see if they have any prior cases filed against them. So if you search my name, you'll see thousands and thousands of cases, because I'm the attorney of record on those cases. So I guess if you see a ton of results, you may want to check and make sure the person's not an attorney or something. Right. But for the most part, that's a very good quick check of, is this a red flag? But you do need, I should caution people too, that there is fair housing laws. So you need to have written policies, maybe the best thing is a minimum credit score, minimum income, because numbers don't discriminate.
Right.
For criminal stuff, you need to have limits on, if you're doing a criminal background, like no more than 10 years old, like if they do have a conviction, because there's law out there that says you're discriminating if you're using stuff that's more than 10 years old. And I don't want to get into the weeds on the legal reasons, but in your head, if you have a 10-year cutoff, I had a client actually email me today where there was a 30-year conviction, and I was like, let's not consider that one. That's a little, and the person was a kid at the time. So I'm like, how about he's had a good adult record? We're just going to go with that. So just reasonableness, so you're not violating federal housing laws. Yeah.
And when I meet with people that are on the fence about, do I sell? Because we'll have people come in. I think we're one of the only real estate teams ever that tries to convince people not to sell their house, right? Like, my husband and I are very passionate about real estate being an amazing avenue to wealth or, investments. For me, like stocks and bonds are just like fake. It's like monopoly money to me. But real estate's something I can drive past. I can touch it. I can feel it. I can see it. And it doesn't, obviously it comes with its own challenges, but we do have people that sit at that table over there and we say like, have you considered renting this out? Have you considered holding on to it?
And if you can afford to do that, I think it's definitely worth it. Like have your first investment property or maybe your second or third at that point. But yeah, I agree with you. Investment properties are a great stable source of income.
So even knowing what you know now, which you've probably seen the worst of the worst, right? What is real estate investing something that you would recommend?
I would recommend if you have the money to do it and to cover. Yeah, definitely. And depending on, maybe have a targeted audience. So I've looked at rental properties before. I would target, stuff around where you're going to have traveling nurses or maybe, law students that can't have stuff on their record because they can't become a lawyer.
Right. They're not partying, they're studying.
So, right. Exactly. Or maybe get the frat house at UD. Maybe that, because their parents can pay the bills. So just plus be smart about where or maybe you want the Section 8 because then you're getting the federal funding. Right. So whatever makes you comfortable.
Right. And hone in on it and and don't do anything you're not comfortable with because you will pay the price. You will pay the price.
Oh, and the one other thing that people really need to hear is don't be nice. Like, you want to be nice and you want to give somebody, an easy time. But as soon as you do that, they're going to be behind 3 months of rent. As soon as they're behind from the beginning, send your legal notice. Even if you want to work with them, at least you have yourself protected from the beginning. That's where people get into trouble and then they get foreclosures because they are not paying their mortgage.
Exactly. And I always tell people the key, and this is my goal with property management, is when your tenant sits down to pay their bills, let's say at the first of the month, whether it's their cell phone bill, it's their health insurance bill, whatever. If you allow them to pay your bill last, hey, I'm going to be short this month. Hey, I'm going to pay on the 15th. Hey, the more you allow them to pay your bill last, the further down the list you're going to become. And so for me, I check in with tenants on the 4th. If I haven't gotten rent from them by the 4th, I'm checking in. Hey, what's going on? Hey, I don't want to give you a late fee. Let's communicate. Let's figure this out. Because I think if you do, every inch gets a mile, right? If you do become the second bill they pay, now you're the third bill they pay, we want to be the first bill they pay. We want to be first. So I am very big on hire me as your property manager. Let me be your bad guy. Let me be that person that's nope. Cause it is hard, especially when you get to know your tenant and now you're friends. And
yes. And I have been referring people to you and I wish more people would use your property management company because, you need somebody who can be a professional, especially you need that detachment. If you're too personally invested, it was your first home and maybe you're very sentimental about it, probably shouldn't rent it in that case, to be honest. Because tenants don't take the best care of properties.
No, they don't.
But I like that too, because, when I was at another firm, I could be well, my partners, now I can't say that anymore.
Right, just you.
So it's just me.
It's just you. That has to be freeing a little bit.
It is freeing a little bit, yes.
How do you feel, so putting your business hat back on, how has it been, you come from a big firm that they're, providing the coffee, they're doing everything for you. Mm-hmm. Now, you have your employees, you have people looking to you. How has that been, adjustment wise?
Well, I think it's good that I came from a big firm because I kind of expect all those the coffee. Actually, we don't have coffee in my office. We have sodas and juice.
Hey.
None of my employees have asked for coffee yet. I don't drink coffee, but maybe if they want it, I'll get it. Yeah. But yeah, it's good because I get to choose the snacks.
Yeah, literally.
It's the small things. Yeah.
You pick the paint colors.
Yes. You could do it. Or I have my husband do that because I'm not, he's the artist of the family. But yeah, so it's good because I can also let my staff go without having to worry about the other people in the office, maybe the other attorneys. Yeah, because JP courts open 8 to 4, and the other courts are open later, or they have filing deadlines of midnight. We don't have that in JP court, so I want my staff to have better quality of life.
Right.
And so
they'll stay if they're happy.
Yes. And if they're at a bigger firm, they can't leave early because the other staff can't leave early. So I don't have any of that to worry about.
That's amazing.
So that's been nice.
That's something we're super passionate about here. Even Jade and our team's on maternity leave and we're just very much take whatever time there's no rules, there's no policies. we are very much, if you got nothing going on, go.
Right.
Go to the beach for the weekend, like go. But when we're grinding, we're grinding.
That's the thing. When
we
I
need
expect you to be here when it's time. And there are times when it's busier and we do stay. Yeah. So
and your late nights.
Like serve your client, whatever we need to do to serve our client. Right. And that doesn't mean sit in the office and play solitaire.
Right.
So
exactly. And work-life balance. Yeah. We got to, I always say when we're busy, lean in, and when we're not, lean in. Like whatever we're doing, lean all the way in. Like Caitlin on our team, we just hired. She's amazing. We've been slow this afternoon. So she's like, all right, I'm out. Like, see ya.
That's perfect.
Yeah. We're the same way. So let's talk about you're a mom.
Yes.
Same. Going through all this firm to firm to now starting your own, how has it been with managing your personal life, your husband, your child, growing your own practice now? How has that been with balance and keeping your sanity?
So the only thing that was stressful was Christmas because we were transitioning over that time. And I really did not want to do Christmas this year because we were buying our office building, moving into the new space, trying to get all my files from my old firm. But you have a 5-year-old, so we can't cancel Christmas. Maybe if she was 25, but no. So that was the most difficult thing. But other than that, like my daughter loves going to work with mommy. Soon it's just more free now. She has the upstairs in our office is her little playroom, so she's good. My husband has been a great help. He's renovating the building for me, so it's been a family effort, and it's going really well. I guess the best thing is just that really at my old firm, I was able to run my own business. I was like running my own business under there. I didn't have to do any of the business management. So that's the more stressful part is keeping track of all the bills and the licenses and, the business
payroll,
ownership.
insurance.
Yes, all that stuff.
And one thing we talked about, so Nicole and I got lunch and her and I are very similar. She's like, I'm running late. You're running late. Let's go here. Let's go. Like we are both 1,000 miles an hour. I think we bond over that. And we just got chicken nuggets at Wendy's.
Yes.
So literally I was like, I'm on the go. Like sometimes I either don't eat lunch because I'm so busy, or if I do, it's like I will eat chicken fingers at the dash-in. Like it's absolutely disgusting, but like sometimes you just need to eat something and keep it going.
Yes.
So I think we bonded over that. So yeah, being
I was
working
so
mom's
happy
no
when
joke.
You were okay with that because I was like, I really just want some nuggets from Wendy's. Can we do that?
Friends. We were instant friends. I'm like, yes. Like, and I'll have periods in my life where I'm super healthy and I'm working out every day and like I maybe wouldn't eat that, but like I would still love the suggestion. Like deep down, I'm like, yes, she's one of us. She's one of us. I love that.
It's funny. So just a quick, when I was very baby attorney, my first case I did,
like 25,
like
26?
I was like 23 or something.
Okay.
Yeah, very young. And my first case, the client was like, oh, I want to get you, like he wanted to, I think it was like we were maybe doing a bet on the judgment, and he's like, oh, I'm going to buy you a beer. I was like, could it be a milkshake?
Yes.
So I would rather
love
have
that.
a milkshake.
Right, so, exactly.
Wendy's Frosties. We'll put a plug in for Wendy's. Yeah.
I'm in. We shout out Wendy's. Shout out Wendy's. Not a small business, but maybe they were at some point.
Maybe at one point.
I love it. So any like crazy, this is a silly question, but like any crazy horror stories that you could share? I don't know if you have like HIPAA laws.
Well, no, I don't have to say any client names or anything. So I actually was writing this letter today. If I can remember the sentence, I would love to tell you the sentence. It was something to the effect of, it's come to your landlord's attention that you have disconnected the sewer pipe and you're allowing open human waste to accumulate under your home. So
on purpose?
I don't know. My guess is that these tenants can't afford the fix. So instead of having it back up I'm assuming all this back up into their home, they just disconnected the pipe. So, but it's absolutely disgusting. So that's pretty gross.
What area is this, Delaware?
That was Kent County. Yeah.
Kent County.
I only represent Delaware.
Yeah.
I'm not barred in any other state.
Nice.
So yeah, there's some very disgusting ones.
So what do you even do? Like, what does the landlord do in that situation?
That's a good question. Like sometimes I'm like, I hate when my clients call me with the hard questions, but I guess that's why they do need to call me because I am the lawyer. So we talked about different things. Sometimes you want to get the county involved, but not always, because then the county could be overreaching and find other stuff. And also you're going to get cited as the landowner. So I was, in that case, I was like, this is an emergency. We need to immediately remedy it. We contacted service people. I'll give a shout out to Service Pro because that was the one who came through, but the plumbers, they couldn't touch it. So we had to get the tenants to agree to allow us to clean up. So we're worried about groundwater contamination.
Yes.
We're worried about all these issues.
That can get way worse.
Yeah, it can get way worse. So those are the most disgusting cases. Anything involving sewage is the most disgusting.
Wild.
very wild.
I've had some backed up pipes, so we have a lot of issues with people using like dude wipes.
Yes.
So PSA to anyone out there, dude wipes, while they say they are flushable, they are not flushable, especially in the city of Wilmington, who has pipes that are over 100 years old.
Right. Very small diameter. Yes.
Yeah. They're like quarter-inch half sometimes. So yes, while dude wipes may advertise they are flushable, they are not. Obviously, same goes to feminine hygiene products, all the things. I think people know that. But the dude wipes are really specifically, they've been a challenge. So I now have a section in my lease specifically about flushable wipes.
Okay.
Because these people just flush them, and then they get backed up, and then our whole basement's now flooded with sewage. Like,
yes.
It's insane the amount
disgusting.
of pipes that I have not pumped, but I've been there while my plumber pumps. Like, unbelievable. So yeah,
it's usually wipes. I will agree with that. Or baby wipes. Like, baby wipes are not flushable.
Not even close.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy the things that these people do. So that's been one of my main ones, is the dude wipes. But I try to just get ahead of it with the tenants and tell them.
Yes.
But it's hard.
It is hard.
And they don't listen. They don't listen.
It is hard. And so, when you're struggling, what's the right thing to do? If you have like a property manager or an attorney to call, it's good to just even bounce ideas off of each other. Because sometimes, I was talking to my client about that. Like, well, we could call these agencies, but we were like, no, we don't want to open that door. And so and this has come up it's mostly in Sussex County, because they have a lot of older septic systems down in Sussex County and stuff. So I think it wouldn't occur as much unless people are flushing wipes and things in Wilmington.
We've got some people up here that are at least not smart enough. I don't want to say smart enough, but they wouldn't cut the pipe. I would hope not.
No, well, and this is different. I'm talking about manufactured homes, so they're connected on the lot.
It's different.
So it's different. It wouldn't be like in an apartment complex. But in there, you have people that are like not paying their electric bill and pipes are bursting, maybe, or
and they don't own the land, so they don't care.
Right. They don't own the building. They don't care if they might care if their stuff gets destroyed by water, but they don't care about the building. So,
sheesh.
So there's another 2-minute warning here. I want to just throw out that if you have a rental property, you should do routine inspections.
Yes.
I had a client yesterday tell me that they haven't inspected. The person's been running it for 4 years and they want to go in now. I'm like, well, in the future, how about you do quarterly inspections? So quarterly inspections are good. They're required in subsidized properties. If you need an excuse, you're changing the batteries in the fire alarm, you're replacing the air conditioning filters. So you can send a 48-hour notice that you're coming in to change the filters.
You're doing my job for me. So that's exactly what we do. We do quarterly filter changes. Yes. Quarterly. And I would say to my landlords, it's a quarterly filter. It's a walkthrough, disguised as a quarterly filter change, but we are also changing the filter, which is also still very important.
Yes.
But it's the easiest way to get eyes on your property 4 times a year. So my company does it 4 times a year.
And then you have your eyewitness in the property looking at what the violations are.
Do we have surprise cats? Do we have surprise roommates? Do we have surprise drywall falling off the walls, right? Whatever. So that's a great way to do it. All right. So one question I would say for you. So let's think about a general eviction. So like, say I'm a landlord, I have a tenant, they stop paying rent, and I don't have a property manager, right? Like, I'm friends with my tenant. They've had some health issues. They're going through a divorce. You've heard all the song and dance, but we're like 3-4 months at this. We haven't gotten rent from these guys. I call Nicole. Nicole, what do I do? What can that landlord expect from an eviction standpoint? Like, people ask me this all the time. Well, how long does it take? And I'm like, well, it can take 2 weeks. It can take 2 months. It can take... You tell me.
Yeah, I love it depends, because that is the lawyer answer, is it depends. But no, when a first time if a client calls me and they have this, I'm like, okay, I need you to get me the lease and the rent ledger. If they have an oral lease, that's actually a good thing in some cases, because then I know it's a month to month, because the law says it can't be more than a month to month unless it's in writing. Mm-hmm. So we would send a 60-day non-renewal notice.
And that's just per Delaware Landlord Tenant Code. Like, everything's automatically month to month.
Yes.
If nothing exists.
If nothing's in writing.
Or if the lease is expired.
After the lease expires, if it didn't get renewed, it converts to a month to month.
Got it. Yes. Okay, cool.
Unless your lease says it will renew on a year-to-year basis. So that's why I always ask for the lease, because I have to read it, because the client will think that their lease is expired, but it turns out it hasn't expired. Mm-hmm. So the lease, the documents themselves are important. So if everybody out there could hear this, and if they want to retain me, send me the lease and the rent ledger from the start, that would save us time, because we'd have everything we need. If it's a rule violation, we need pictures, we need dates and times. You have to be very specific in those letters about what's occurring and when to send a rule violation letter to your tenant. And so we would send whatever curative or termination letter is required, and when that deadline expires, we would file in court. So if it's a 5-day rent demand, we'd file in court on the 6th day. If it's a 60-day, after the 60 days is up, we'd file in court. If it's a rules violation, after the rule violation expires, you have to probably re-inspect. You have to check to see if they cured the problem. If they did not, you have to send an immediate termination notice.
And what's an example of that? You're not supposed to have pets and you have a cat.
Right, like get rid of the cat.
Right,
and then they'll make a reasonable accommodation.
So they have a right to cure. Like they have like a chance to.
They have a chance to cure. They have a chance to get rid of the cat. But in most situations, it's a pit bull dog, and they're going to have an emotional support animal request. So then you're processing a reasonable accommodation request at that point, and you don't have to approve all of those. You can ask for certain information, but I would say don't do that on your own. Use a property management company or an attorney, because you could really get into trouble there. And I will say that there's agencies that are being, or they were in years past, I don't know if they're doing it now, but they are doing cold calls to see if landlords make mistakes on these issues.
Wow.
Like, do you have a no pet policy? Yes, we have a no pet policy. What about my service animal? And say, well, we would run that through an application. Don't say that you don't allow service animals, because that's illegal. So
that's scary.
It is scary. I don't think they're doing those calls. I think that was a couple years ago. I don't think that's currently happening, but I know that there's a lot going on with, the government looking out for tenants these days. So just beware as a landlord to do the right thing.
So say this person now calls you and we start the process. And obviously the answer is it depends.
Yes.
In your experience, like what would you say like the average time frame is until like we are done, the keys are back, like we are done with this tenant?
So if it's a 5-day demand, you're at the fastest point, because if they don't pay, you get to file in court within like a week. And then but from the day of filing in court, in Newcastle, we're probably in court within 7 weeks time.
So crazy.
It used to be like 3 weeks. So 7 weeks. And
that's just because we don't have enough attorneys. We don't have courts.
It's just the court's so busy.
Yeah.
They're so backed up.
Yeah.
So when you go to court, assuming you win in court and that there's no like issues as far as if it's a default, then there's different motions that can happen after that. But if you win and you get to your writ of possession, so once you have your judgment, you have to wait 2 weeks. It's 11 days. They say 10 days, but the day you get the judgment doesn't count. So just pretend it's 11 days and file your writ of possession. And then that takes another 2 weeks to process, because that gets filed with the court. The court issues it to the constable's office. So it takes the court about a week to do that, maybe 2 weeks. And then it takes the constable about 2 weeks to get it on their schedule. I think they have up to 30 days to execute writs, but they usually are more timely than that.
So I've never gotten to this point. Usually the tenants leave by this point, or we figure it out, right?
Yes.
So what does that mean, the constable? Like someone like bangs on their door? Like what happens?
Okay, so after you have a judgment, you've done your writ of possession. When we file a writ of possession request, so I'd say call Mary Kate at this phone number. So the constable would call you and let you know when the lockout's going to occur. That means that's when you have to change the locks. The constable does not change the locks.
Right, they're not paying the locksmith $400 to change the locks.
Correct. They will show up, and if people are in the house, they will call the police to have the people removed.
Wow.
So how it mechanically works, and I never see this side because my clients do this, but from what I understand, the constable posts an eviction notice on the door that says you have 24 hours to vacate. And then they come back. The constable will post that notice. He'll tell you what time and day to come back. You have to meet the constable at the property. He will not watch you change the locks, but if you don't meet him, it's considered non-est, which is not executed, which means you have to start over. So if you get that far in the case, make sure you show up on that day. And then you can change the locks right then, or you can have your locksmith come later. But I would say as soon as possible, especially if he's had the police remove people, board up windows, secure the property.
Yep.
And if people are like, oh, I think my tenant moved out, the way you know if your tenant moved out is if they gave you the keys.
Right.
The keys are, under Delaware law, the court wants to know, did you get the keys?
Yeah.
So, or if they gave you a statement in writing, like I've lost the keys, but I'm out, and they've shut the electric off, I would say, okay, that's sufficient evidence.
But what if the tenant has another set of keys?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why you have to change the locks, I guess.
I would still change the locks. Yeah. But giving them the key, turning over the keys is how they give up possession.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Because I had a tenant that left their keys on the front step. And as soon as I said that to the attorney, she was like, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. I tell my clients, I'm like, look in the mailbox,
like, ding, ding, ding,
look on the kitchen counter, look in the fridge, look in the, we've had tenants leave it in drawers.
But can you go in? You have to give 48-hour notice to go in.
If you think it's been abandoned, like you can look in the windows if it looks abandoned and you're concerned for safety, you want to secure your property, that would be like sort of an emergency situation where you could go in. I would knock and announce if somebody's there, don't go in. But
it's the crazy side of real estate nobody talks about.
I know. And then clients are like, well, what if this happens? And what if that happens? I'm like, I can't do all the what ifs. Right. So call me while you're there. And if it happens, let's talk about it. Yeah. So
what if the tenants are still there? We put the 24-hour notice, the constable comes, we're knocking on the door, there's no keys, the tenants are still in there. They call the police?
Yeah, so the tenants will get removed, but at that point, all their stuff is there. So what happens with their stuff? Right. So you have to store their stuff for 7 days. They do have to pay per diem rent for each of those days if they want to get their stuff. Usually I tell my clients, don't charge them that rent. If they want to come get their stuff, let them, because otherwise you're just going to have a bigger junk removal fee. Right. So you store the property for 7 days. If nothing happens after 7 days, it's deemed abandoned and you can just turn over your property after that. Now, I will say if the tenants are reaching out to you in that 7 days and you're not able to let them have access, you need to extend that 7 day period because that's not.
Do people leave the stuff in the house, or do you go get like a storage unit and put it somewhere? You just leave it in the house?
No, just leave it in the house because after 7 days, you're going to probably throw it in the trash. Right. So no need to move it to a storage unit.
Move it twice.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay, so they have a right to come get their stuff. They get their stuff, and then you're good to go. It's done.
You just flip the property. Oh, thank you, because there's another piece to this puzzle. If they've paid a security deposit, you have to send a security deposit disposition letter explaining why you're keeping the security deposit. That has to be an itemized letter. So we had to replace the door on the fridge because that was broken, or the cabinet doors, or the blinds are all broken. Whatever it is, itemize the list. Literally list the item and the cost to repair that item. You have 20 days to get this letter in the mail from the date you receive the keys or you've done the eviction. Honestly, the law is whenever the tenant provides you with a forwarding address in writing. So if they haven't given you address, you technically don't have to send this letter, but best practices, send the letter to the rental address, hoping that it gets forwarded, like that the tenant has set up mail forwarding. Because I've seen, actually, that since I've opened my own practice just for 6 months, this has been a case where I've had 2 tenants suing for, actually it might be 3 tenants suing for the return of a security deposit. So if we have that proof that we sent it to the last known address, you have your 20-day clock starting from when you get the forwarding address in writing. Best practices, send it within 20 days to the rental address. Send it again if you get their forwarding address. If it's 2 tenants and you want to return the security deposit, if you don't have a forwarding address, I would send a letter saying that you have the check, please contact me to pick up the check.
Right.
But send it, make it payable to both tenants, tenant A and tenant B, because you don't know which one paid the security deposit. So that's been an issue before. Of who do you give it to?
Crazy. So something I learned, so like I just evicted a tenant, like now it's on his record that he owes the landlord 3 months worth of rent.
Yes. So good. That's a good piece to talk about. If tenants get evicted, they'll have an eviction on their record. Even if you file a case, they'll have a case filing on their record. So what you can do if you're a landowner that wants to be nice to your tenant, but you want to protect yourself, I've done pre-filed stipulated agreements. So a stipulated agreement is a settlement agreement that settles a pending eviction action with terms that the tenant agrees to live with, and it makes the landlord whole. And the judge will sign off on that. And then the court controls that agreement. If you're like, okay, we want to protect ourselves, but we don't want this case filed in court because we know when the tenant is moving out, their name's going to come up. Yeah, so we've done pre-filed stipulated agreements where the tenant agrees to whatever our payment and move-out terms, whatever our terms are, and as long as they comply with those terms, we do not file the case in court. But the good news with this, the way I draft them, is if you don't comply, we file the case, file the stipulated agreement, and file the affidavit of breach, which is the tattletale letter that says you breached the agreement all the same day, so we get our judgment the same day we file the case.
Wow.
And those agreements allow you to get a writ of possession the same day too.
Wow.
So it protects the landlord. So I had a case where it's like family members, like father, son, and they don't want to file against their son, but they want to protect themselves too, so we might use this.
Wild.
Or it's subsidized housing. The thing with subsidized housing, tenants will lose their subsidy for, I thought it was 7 years. I heard recently it's 10 years that they'll lose their subsidy.
Big time.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So the tenants are very motivated to settle the cases if they understand like the ramifications to their future.
Right.
And you can get everything you want. Like sometimes my clients want to waive the rent. They just want the person to leave. Or sometimes they're like, as long as the person leaves, they can have 6 months to pay me back my money. So,
now, are you talking to the tenants? Like, are you negotiating this, or who talks to the tenant?
Yes, sometimes I'm talking to be honest,
all my evictions, the tenants have totally ghosted me. So I've had to use I've had to use the courts because they just stop responding.
Yeah, so this like particular thing I'm talking about pre-filing, so that usually then it's my landlord talking to the tenant.
Yeah.
But I don't like I know you have to register for mediation in the mediation portal. I don't like using that portal. So I will use that portal because I'm legally required to, but I will ask them to email me at my work address. And we will negotiate. If tenants reach out to us before trial, we'll negotiate before trial, but most of the time it's happening at trial, and the judge gives us a few minutes to
like
talk.
Sidebar.
And so we do it right there in court.
Yeah, because I have a landlord that just bought a building. He wants to get all the tenants out and renovate it. And I'm like, are we going to go through this 6 months process? Like, what are we going to do? Like, what do we do?
That's interesting.
What would you recommend to someone in that situation?
So there is certain provisions that allow sooner termination. So I'd want to review the code, but I think that right off the bat, you do a 60-day notice to all the people, unless they have leases that last longer. So we would need to look at the leases, but I would do 60-day notices, because then you can line up your permits for the work and stuff. You can kind of do both at the same time.
Work in the background. Yeah. Interesting. I'm learning a lot today. Yeah. I am learning a lot. And ultimately for me, like my tenants have just always ghosted, like totally ghosted me. Crickets, can't get a hold of them, nothing. Stop paying rent, nothing. So like I literally am forced.
Yeah. And so then it's like, well, how do we know if they vacated? So if you don't have the keys, but it looks like the property's abandoned. I had one client this week where the person left. They shut off the water and the electricity, but we can't find the keys. And I was like, you know what? We're gonna take that as evidence. There was one mattress left in the 3-bedroom house. So I'm like, we're gonna take this as that they've left. Right. But leave a note on the door that says, if you're the tenant, call this number. We'll let you immediately back in the property. Because if you don't do that and you have locked out your tenant, it's an emergency hearing that the tenant can file called. It's a forthwith hearing, and it's a constructive eviction because you've changed the locks when you didn't have the legal authority to do that. Right. So that is a tricky question of when can I change the locks. So a lot of it is a business decision, because legally the answer is you cannot change the locks until the tenant gives you the keys, or you have a court order saying you can change the locks. Wow. So, or something in writing from the tenant that says that they've left and they don't want possession anymore. But it's usually not that clear. Right. If it's that clear, it's very easy to say, yes, move forward. But if it's where your tenant has ghosted you, you're not hearing from them, but they also don't seem to be in the property, but there's like all their stuff is left there, or half of their stuff is left there, I would say you go through the court process with that. This happens a lot with dead people. So people die, and there's an eviction action for it's a dead person case where you have to do an estate search, you have to do a newspaper advertisement. There's like boxes you have to check to do these cases.
A newspaper advertisement?
To say that you're going to file an eviction action to evict the estate of the dead person.
Wow.
Yeah. And you file and you serve the register of wills.
This makes me scared. Yeah. Like I
There's
feel like
so much. So call me. I dealt with everything.
Right. I'm like, this is not what I do best. Like what I do best is I'm good at talking to tenants. I'm good at keeping them happy. I'm good at giving them a home that they want to renew. Right. Like my goal is my tenants pay on time, and they want to stay year after year, so that my landlords don't have to find new tenants. Yes. So my goal is to make these people happy. So like when it comes to this side of the business, like I just want to let you
I'm the bad news side of the business. Yes.
And I'm bad news in my own ways. Pay your rent, fix this. This is your fault, whatever. Like I am, sometimes I say to my husband, I'm like, I feel like he gets to be the good guy. He's selling people houses. Yeah. He's sliding big checks across the table to people that sell their houses, right? And then I'm the big bad property manager that's like, pay your rent on time. Yes. Or I'm calling the landlords like, your washing machine broke, your tenant hates us. Like, I feel like all I do is deliver bad news, which is exhausting. But there is an upside to my business. Like a lot of tenants, when I do take on properties, they're like, this is the first time I've had a property manager that's answered my calls.
Right. Like, they appreciate getting through to someone.
Yes. Yes. Even if I don't fix their problem like that, which sometimes I can't, just knowing that somebody's actively somewhat remembering that the problem exists is like 90% of it. Yes. Like, hey, I know we haven't fixed your closet door yet, but it's on our list for next week. Like, just a human responding.
And sometimes they just want to tell their side of the story. And I'm like, okay, it's not going to influence what I do, but I'll listen to your story. And guess what? You can tell the judge about it too, because
they love to hear all your wah-wahs. Yes. So crazy. Yes. So what advice would you give to someone? I'm a young attorney. I am interested in this type of field. What advice would you give somebody?
I would say so what was told to me and why I ended up where I am today is the supervising attorney told me to read Title 25, Chapter 70 and become an expert on it. So that's what I did.
It's amazing.
It's titled Delaware Code, Title 25, Chapters 51, 53, 55, 57, and 70. And then commercial, I think, is 61. So read the code and become an expert in the code because you need to know how to do your job.
Yeah.
So, and then call my office, see if I need an intern or something, or other people that specialize in this area.
Yeah, you seem to be someone that found your niche and became the best at it.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
It was just lucky. It was just luck. So,
and hard work.
Yeah,
I failed acting career.
I didn't go to law school to be a landlord attorney, but I actually was interested in property law, so it's not too far off.
Are you happy?
Yeah, this is perfect. To have my court be 8 to 4 p.m.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's American dream.
And
it's like a dentist.
Yes, and it's the court's closed. We don't have to be.
We're done.
Yeah, we're done. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's good. And right now, landlord tenant is all via Zoom, which has been nice because I used to drive to all the counties.
Yep.
And so that's been, hopefully they keep it like that because that also saves clients money.
Yes.
Not commuting 2 hours.
I've done my couple court cases right here at the table. It's so nice to just be ding, 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 right back to work.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't want to see people in real life. It'd be so awkward. Well, thank you. What can you leave people with? How can they find you? Do they call you? Do they go on your website? How can people start to work with you if they, maybe they would like to pick your brain for advice, or they just, have a tenant that's not paying their rent? How could they work with you?
We have a client submission form online, but they could call too. Our phone number is 302-803-5333.
Love it.
The website is hard because my name is Faries, but it's spelled like Faries, but it's thefariesfirm.com.
Yep. So, and we'll tag and link everything here. Well, do you think you'll ever venture into social media?
Probably not so much. We have, we have our LinkedIn. No, we have enough through word of mouth. And
and you don't need
I don't need that.
Yeah.
Because that attracts more tenants, to be honest.
Negatives. And I can only imagine what your Google reviews would look like. So,
Well, and I have tenants that are, recently a client sent me a post from a tenant that's very mad at his property manager. And also through my firm name, I'm like, oh, I kind of thank you. I kind of like that. That's good. That's some advertising for me.
I get the occasional negative review, and it's not ultimately a reflection of me. If a landlord raises their rent, they raise their rent. You can hate me all you want, but I'm just a messenger. But I do take it to heart sometimes because I'm like, I think I'm nice, but it is what it is. It's part of the business. It's part
of the business. I think if I get to work with tenants, if tenants are reasonable, I think we get along great. Yes. I've had tenants fire their attorney and just work with me at court before. So wow. I think, we do it the right way.
Good. I love it. Well, I'm super inspired by you. I'm excited. I'm not excited for my first eviction with you, but I know it's coming. So, I'm excited that it will be a smooth, easy process.
Yes, it will.
And I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thanks everyone for listening to another awesome episode of Life on the Ave. Thank you, Nicole, for coming on, and we'll see you next week.